Hi guys, welcome to your week 9 Modern World launch. And this is the last time that we're going to be reviewing the Ideas to Change the World project because we are ready to move on to the Revolutions essay. So if you're not following along with the pace chart, I recommend it. It is in your Google Classroom and we are approaching week 9, which runs from October 17th through October 23rd. As you can see the little asterisk there and it's highlighted in yellow, that says it's another checkpoint. That would actually be the end of our first marking period of school. So hopefully you have at least turned some of the things to the left of the blue line green. If you have not, now's a really, really good time to start and to pick up the pace. So basically everything above this green box, you should have already turned green. Or at least be close to submitting that project. So that's what you should be working on at this point. A reminder that the final product for the Ideas to Change the World project is due on Tuesday, October 16th. We've been working on this for 9 weeks. I really stretched out this first project just to get you guys used to the SLP if you were new to it. And that's really, it should be done by now. The final product is really just a paragraph. So I hope you guys aren't too scared of the word project. A lot of these are just small little things. So this is just a paragraph that needs written. So I'm going to be available to help you on this one. I'll give you 1 additional week if you have not done it. So you can reach out to me directly if you need help until Tuesday, October 23rd. After that point, I do have to move on and just keep the pace going, and we need to move on to the Revolutions essays because that's where my attention needs to go so that those who are on pace can actually have my full attention. So you're not alone. If you're somebody who has not started the project yet or is halfway and not done, please refer back to the old launches. You can get into those with the Google Slides that I attached to this assignment in Google Classroom. So all of these are active links. You can go in and refresh your memory of how to do all these checkpoints and help you pass that first project. Okay, so we are moving on to the revolution. So I'm sure you've heard the word revolution. I'm not sure that most of you know exactly what it means, but we're going to kind of discuss that and learn about it in this project. So what I want you to do is just look at these pictures and see what all they have in common. And so, I mean, there's modern day ones, there's Black Lives Matter, the Me Too movement is a new one, the right to vote, the right for jobs for Black people, the Russian Revolution. So the number one thing that I notice in all of these pictures is that revolutions require a group of people. These are not individual efforts. It might start with one person, but it is just the ideas kind of are taken and run with, and the group grows because this is a group effort. So we're going to be learning about all sorts of different revolutions, but basically it's important to know that this is a group change. All right, so the revolutions essay. This is your next project. The essential questions for this, what we're basically going to be learning, are how do people create a revolution and what makes a revolution successful? So those are the underlying issues that we're going to be discussing in this project. The project description, basically how this is going to work. You're first going to study the French Revolution to develop an understanding of what makes a revolution. So this is where you should be doing the French Revolution causes, focus area. All of the focus areas is where you get the background information and the content knowledge that you can then apply to the project. So don't dive headfirst into the project. Try the focus areas first so that you can actually learn and study, because the projects are going to seem a lot easier once you actually pass the focus area. You're then going to be studying primary sources about the French Revolution and writing an argumentative claim essay, evaluating whether or not the French Revolution was successful. So basically you're responding to, was the French Revolution a success, and what is your evidence? So that's essentially what you're doing. Your final product for this one is to choose a current movement to study and then create a presentation that explains the goals and strategies of the current social movement. So some examples of current social movements that I'm sure some of you have at least heard of a few. Black Lives Matter has been a big deal for a few years. The hashtag Me Too movement is huge, especially recently with the Judge Kavanaugh Supreme Court nomination. The Tea Party and the Never Again, which is also a pretty big one, especially for teenagers, because it's really a student-led movement of the gun control, because of so many school shootings that had happened recently. So these are just some ideas. If you have other social movements that you follow along with or are really interested in, This is entirely up to you. So pick a social movement that you're interested in. And then you're going to be arguing about whether or not that movement could be considered a revolution by future historians. Checkpoint 1 is the first thing that's due, and that's due October 23rd. So if you're following along, this is the first thing you should be doing. You're going to be answering, what are the primary causes of a revolution? So you're going to describe 2 to 3 causes of a revolution. In each cause, you need to be making sure that you're listing at least one piece of evidence. So you're going to be using the Causes of the French Revolution document analysis activity to complete the checkpoint, and using the document set. So the document set is the French Revolution causes. This one's the spicy set, which means it's the hardest one. I typically assign the medium, which is a little bit easier to read. So what you guys would do is, there are a couple documents the whole way down. These are all having to do with the French Revolution. And you would be making sure that you are integrating evidence from multiple sources. So you cannot rely too heavily on, just document A. You want to be using at least 2 sources. Anytime you're making a claim and you're writing a research paper, you want to make sure that you have more than one source, because you always want a second one, because it makes your argument more credible, because you were able to back it up with another source. One thing I did want to point out, when some of you guys are trying to put evidence into your essays, you guys are referring a lot of times to things that are written here in context. Context is actually something that's just written by the members of the Summit Learning Platform to give you some background information of why the source was created, or when, what was going on in the time of history. So this would be a really good, you can get information from here when you're discussing the context of the source and introducing the background of the source. But the actual information that is a primary source is the stuff that is highlighted in this like tannish color there. So make sure you're not quoting this as evidence, because that's not evidence. The evidence needs to come from the actual source. So if you have any questions about that, please let me know. Okay, and then you're going to be getting evidence on your ability to integrate evidence. And what that means is, you're not just plopping random quotes into a paragraph and doing nothing with them. You are properly introducing them, which means you're saying something like, according to the Declaration of Independence written in 1776 by so-and-so, and then you put your quote. And then you also want to end it and explain that evidence too. So rather than just randomly putting quotes, you want to make sure you're properly introducing and integrating them into your text so it flows freely. A reminder that the end of the first marking period is Tuesday, October 23rd, so you will be receiving your second checkpoint progress report. Some of your grades are going to be really, really low, especially if you are somebody who's very far behind with a lot of red and haven't turned much green yet. I need you guys, though, to not panic, because only 1/4 of the year is done. We still have 3/4 of the year, which is what the green part is here. So don't panic. It's just time to make a change, okay? So what the progress reports are going to say, if you have a grade that's really, really low and you don't make any changes to your study strategies or your schedule or your effort level, then you're likely going to have a very similar grade at the end of the year. So there's a lot of time to change. There's 3/4 of the year left. Just make sure you're making the change and committing to doing better. So if you get your progress report and you're really not pleased with your grade, make sure you reach out to your instructors or your learning guide and ask, how can you make that grade a little better? And I think it all starts with the launches. Those of you who are watching the launches are doing better than anybody else in the course. So just continue to do this for all of your classes. To do for Tuesday, October 23rd, you should be preparing for the French Revolution Causes Content Assessment. Obviously, you should have already done the first 2. This one, you want to make sure this is a new one, so you should at least be trying to print the study guide and working through the playlist of resources in preparation to take it. And then submitting your final product. So if you have not submitted the Ideas to Change the World project, you want to make sure that you have done all the checkpoints and submit that final product. Also, just a reminder, again, I'm not going to be providing a whole bunch of feedback and stuff. If you're just now submitting checkpoint 1 and 2 of things, I'm not going to be as thorough with feedback as I would be if you were doing things on time. So it's really important that you try to do the projects as they're assigned. If you're somebody that hasn't started the project at all, the Ideas to Change the World, I recommend put that off for a bit and get caught up with us, okay? Work on this next Revolutions essay. And that way you're on pace in this project. Then whenever you do have time, then you can go back and finish what you didn't do. But it's important to try to get on pace with us so that these launches make sense to you. If you guys need anything else throughout the week or have any questions, please send me a message.